Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to the live stream. I am your host, Andrew Erickson. You can find me on Twitter at Andrew Erickson underscore. You can find all my written work over at pff.com. Today, we're talking week 16 starter sit because, folks, we're in the semifinals, number one, for the fantasy football playoffs. And number two, there's a ton of injuries and news and items and everything that we need to talk about to go over. Obviously, the big news kind of hitting just a few moments ago. Dalvin Cook put on the COVID reserve list. Now, there are new protocols put in place for those that are put on the reserve COVID list that, if they're vaccinated, that they have a chance to come back. But more or less what we've seen all year long is when guys get put on the list, they don't play the next week. They don't play in the following game. So I think the best approach right here is to assume you're not going to have any of these guys that are put on the list during the week. I don't be hopeful necessarily that they're going to come off of it because it really hasn't happened at all this year. Unless it's like specifically a close contact, like we saw with Mike Williams a couple weeks back. TJ Watt is really the only name that comes to mind of a player that actually was able to come back off the COVID list and play in the game, being put on the list in the exact same week as the game. So just got to keep that in mind. Yes, things are subject to change. Again, I'm learning all this stuff alongside with you guys. Again, it's a very fluid situation, basically, and it's very particular in every case. Like we just don't know. Like we're just basing the information that we have. So when people ask me, like, "Oh, what do you think his chance of coming off the COVID list are?" I'm like, "Your guess is as good as mine." like I'm reading all the same information that you are. So again, you just what we can do as fantasy analysts or as gamers, managers, etc., is just prepare like the worst. Prepare for the worst, and hopefully that will help us get to the light at the end of the tunnel, which hopefully is a fantasy football championship. Now, enough of doom and despair. Let's get into just more news and notes around the league, kind of just talking about some takeaways. So again, obviously off the top, Dalvin Cook placed on the reserve COVID list. Alexander Madison, unless he's hanging out in a waiver wire somewhere, obviously, he's going to get the start. So he was originally on the COVID list. He got activated off the COVID list. So he's back. So he should be good to go. But it's tricky with COVID. When guys come back from COVID, what's their role going to be like? Is he conditioned okay? So I would also just like as a precautionary, like if you have Dalvin Cook, if you don't have Alexander Madison, you have a roster spot that you can use. Maybe add Kene Anangwu. Just throw him on the back of your roster. I know I have Dalvin Cook in a league where I don't have Alexander Madison, just kind of how things shook out. So I'd probably just try to add Kene and Nangwu. I know that the Vikings also added Wayne Gallman, as like a deeper play. So again, just like dynasty plays, just hey, if you got to dig deep, those are some names to kind of potentially add to the back end of your roster. Ramondre Stevenson remains sidelined for Thursday's practice, dealing with a COVID or a non-COVID illness, excuse me. So again, like I don't know which Patriots running back is playing. Like we just don't know. You just kind of a wait and see. They're playing at 1 o'clock. Ideally, like best case scenario is that one of them doesn't play, so you can play the other one. Because when they play together, they obviously eat into each other's carries, and they're not nearly as enticing for fantasy purposes. Kadarius Toney activated off the reserve COVID list, so but he's still been dealing with an injury. So again, Giants, avoid your Giants. Not a hot take there. Rondell Moore remains sidelined for Thursday's practice. That's putting his question down. You weren't starting Rondell Moore, but just kind of concentrates targets around Christian Kirk. So you feel good about starting him. Zach Ertz, you feel good about starting him. But that's really it. Even AJ Green is kind of like on the fringe for me. James Conner remains sidelined for Thursday's practice. Again, James Conner's banged up. He's playing through injuries right now. Maybe he suits up, maybe he doesn't. Again, Chase Edmonds, obviously, this is a game on Saturday, so you're going to know, but you got to just temper expectations for James Conner if you start him. Like, he's not the RB1 anymore with Chase Edmonds in the fold and him dealing with injuries. Taysom Hill placed on the COVID reserve list. It's on Monday night, so you got to play somebody else. Like, you can't go down to the wire hoping, unless you can pick up Tua and you can play like one of those guys. That's probably the only scenario I would wait to see Taysom Hill. Again, the matchup's not great. And yeah, I have Taysom Hill's like ranked as like a top 10 quarterback, like on the fringe, but you should be able to find an alternative. Like the last thing you want to do in your fantasy football playoffs is like ride or die with Taysom Hill and then he doesn't play. Like that's just a very, very bad look. Ian Book is okay. He's going to come in and fill in, but it's not a great situation for the Saints. It's just bad for everyone in general. Like Alvin Kamara, like we see what happens when these third string quarterbacks play. Yes, Kamara should get peppered with targets, but the ceiling gets nuked. The ceiling for these players gets nuked, and Kamara's ceiling has already been inhibited tremendously because of Mark Ingram's kind of injection into the offense. Antonio Gibson remains silent for Thursday's practice. He injured his toe. I think that Antonio Gibson is really more. I think this is really more maintenance than anything. I mean, he played on Tuesday, so it's like, I mean, the guy has a short turnaround on Sunday, so I think they're just really trying to like make sure that he's okay. So um, I wouldn't like count him out necessarily for Sunday night. But again, I mean, Dallas defense is just has been just rock solid this year. It's not shaping up to be a good spot for Gibby. Mike Evans remains sidelined at practice Thursday. I really don't think Mike Evans is going to play. Like I came out and tweeted this out from the get go, and they said he was day to day. That's just not a good spot for Mike Evans. You know, when they say guys are day to day, usually means they miss a week. So I would not be relying or hoping Mike Evans suits up. Taylor Heineke, activated from the reserve COVID list, so he'll get the start for the football team. Trying to avoid him if I can, even in 2 quarterback leagues. I mean, Dallas ate his lunch. He couldn't do anything against the Dallas Cowboys the last time he played them, so I'm not hopeful of, even though I know he has a little bit of rushing juice, just not enough to give me any kind of confidence that he's going to be able to get anything done. So I think that means we will get into just trying to check see if there's any other news and notes around here. Um, that's really it for what's of the updates for Thursdays. Again, a couple guys missing practice on Wednesday, but nothing really that we can take away. One thing I want to mention too with Dalvin is if he's unvaccinated, out for 10 days, similar to Alexander Madison, who was also unvaccinated, he missed 2 games because of he's unvaccinated. So again, you may be looking at Dalvin Cook not available in your fantasy football championships in week 17, depending on how things kind of shake out. So if you're a Dalvin Cook owner, you got to look at the waiver wire and see, is there anybody here that can potentially serve me, not just this week, but next week as well. So again, like I mentioned, Kenny Nangwu, just as a deeper play. I think that Amir Abdullah is interesting as a guy off the waiver wire, playing the Buccaneers. He is super involved in the passing game for Carolina. Just kind of a name off the top of my head. So that's kind of updating the news and notes. So I'm going to get to some of the start sit questions because I'm sure I already see them coming in here. So I want to get hit to them as quick as I can. But first, got to do some housekeeping. We'll be doing a live giveaway this Sunday, December 26th, during the 12 p.m. Eastern kickoff live stream right here on the Fantasy Pros YouTube channel, courtesy of our friends at pristineauction.com. One lucky subscriber will receive an autographed Jerry Jeudy Denver Broncos jersey. How do you enter? It's simple. Subscribe to the Fantasy Pros YouTube channel before the 12 p.m. Eastern Time Sunday live stream. Ask a fantasy-related question in the YouTube chat during the show. That's it. We'll announce a winner at the end of the stream, so make sure you stick around to claim your prize. Boom. Let's get into the start sit questions because they're coming in like hotcakes. Let's get to it. Javonte Williams or Zeke or Edmonds or Justin Jackson, assuming Eckler sits. So of those, so Javonte or Zeke, I'm going to play Javonte. The Raiders defense is atrocious against running backs, and Javonte is explosive, which Zeke is not. Edmonds or Justin Jackson. I'd probably just play Justin Jackson. Now, Edmonds plays on Saturday, so that's a choice you're going to have to wait. You can see if you're going to wait for Justin Jackson. I think it's worth waiting if we know Connor is playing. But again, obviously, if Connor doesn't play, you plug in Edmonds, et cetera, et cetera. Justin Pearson, PPR, pick 3, Deontay, DJ Moore, AJ Brown, McLaurin, or Russell Gage. Now, there's no confirmation that AJ Brown is like playing tonight. Like he's still on IR, so we got to make sure that he gets activated. So just kind of keep that in mind. But if he's playing, I'm playing him. So I go Deontay, DJ Moore, and AJ Brown there. I would say when it comes to Russell Gage versus DJ Moore, if you're looking for a safer floor play, I think Gage probably fits the bill a little bit better than DJ Moore does. Just Moore is dealing with an injury. So if I feel like pretty good about my lineup, my team's not playing a bunch of backups, plagued by COVID injuries, etc., I'd probably play Deontay, AJ Brown, and Russell Gage. But if I need the upside, maybe I shoot for DJ Moore a little bit more than Russell Gage. When I think about it, I think Russell Gage, it's like he's just a very good play. So unless I really unless I'm like a massive underdog, I need like a 30-point game from DJ Moore, probably lean with Gage alongside AJB and Deontay. I think if you play AJB tonight, figure out what he does, that can kind of help make your decision. If he has a great game, play Gage. If he sucks, then you play DJ Moore. Hot and buttery, standard flex, Zeke, Scary Terry, or Justin Jackson. All right, so I guess people are asking Justin Jackson, so I'm just gonna go along with this, assuming that Eckler's not gonna play, because I think that's really more helpful than saying, if he plays, he doesn't play. So yeah, if Jackson is in there, I think that I would check my rankings, see where I have Justin Jackson. Because I know I updated them without Eckler in the fold, but I mean, I don't want to play Scary Terry. Like I mean, I don't see the appeal with him. Yeah, I'm probably gonna start Justin Jackson over Zeke. Yep, it's It's weird that it's come to this, but unfortunately, we are in that scenario. I mean, Washington has a good run defense. So yeah, Justin Jackson, I have a 24. Zeke, I have 21. So it's close, but I might move Jackson up once we get confirmation. It's close. Milton just lost Dalvin Cook. My options are James Conner, Javante, Ronald Jones. Which duo would you start in PPR? I mean, James Conner just seems like he's trending in the wrong direction. So I'd go Javante and Ronald Jones. Those guys, Ronald Jones is fresh. He's healthy. He's not injured. He's little wear and tear. Javante's been explosive this year. So again, like this is when running backs start to get banged up toward the end of the season. So Jones is fresh. I think that he's going to have a solid game. So I don't mind benching James Conner. Anthony Gonzalez, Tua, or Russell Wilson, half point PPR. Man, I'm gonna go with Russ. I mean, he's playing the Bears defense. The Bears defense is not good. I know that they shut down Kirk Cousins and company, but I mean they've been bad all year. And Tua, Saints are a good defense. You know they've been pretty good this year. I think that I actually let me check the ranks again. I believe I had listed Russell. I think I have Russell Wilson just ahead. Like I know Russ sucked on Thursday, or excuse me, on Tuesday night, but he didn't have Lockett. So I think Lockett comes back. I think Russ is the play. Team Slayins. If Hill is out, who should I pick up? Pringle, Hardman, or Garden? Um, it's again, I hate to answer with these caveats, but this is really how you have to think about when we're playing fantasy. You got to look at it from like a floor ceiling perspective. So if you're shooting for the moon, Hardman. I think that's the clear play, but I feel much more confident about Byron Pringle and him being a full time player in that offense. Unfortunately, it's not Josh Gordon. I really don't think Josh Gordon is the answer in either of them. So I'm going to pencil him out. Sorry, Josh. I know I have your jersey, Patriots Josh Gordon jersey, but Pringle, I think, is probably like the guy you can probably pencil in safest, 5 to 6 targets, a couple catches here and there, where Hardman just very wide range of outcomes. Like he could, have a massive 100-yard game, or he could just literally run 10 routes and they don't expand his role at all. And you're just like sad. So probably lean more on the side of Hardman. But Pringle probably offers a little bit more security. Allen Warfield. Start Kirk Cousins or Justin Fields. Justin Fields for me. I'll talk about him as my start in the start sit portion of the live stream. But I mean, guys, he's been a top 10 quarterback every single week he's played in the last 4. Like the rushing is there, 56 rushing yards per game. And Kirk Cousins is just like he's okay. Like he's not anything special. Yeah, he's getting Thielen back, but I'm going Fields. Daniel S. PPR pick 1, Mooney, Parker, or Davis. Gabriel Davis. I'm probably gonna go with Mooney here. Mooney's like the alpha in his offense. Number 1 wide receiver. Al Robinson's still on the COVID list, and so I'm going Mooney. I mean, the Seahawks are just a bad defense. Second most receiving yards allowed to wide receivers over the past 2 weeks. So Darnell Mooney is the pick for me. If Eckler doesn't play, Justin Jackson or Saquon in standard league. Probably play Justin Jackson. I mean, like, look, anytime someone asks me like Saquon or this player, like I'm probably gonna lean on the other player because I like there's no like there aren't a lot of good reasons to play Saquon besides the fact that he's just like starting running back for a bad team. Like he's someone that I'm begrudgingly playing if I really don't have any better options. So Justin Jackson, hey, he plays on a good offense. He's playing the Texans. They suck. I'm playing Justin Jackson. Jamar Chase, this is probably a good problem to have. Pick 2 between Gibson, Javante, AJ Brown, full point PPR. Probably going to play Gibson and AJ Brown in that case. Fallout Fletch. What's up, Andrew? Van Jefferson or Gallup this weekend? Oh, Van Jefferson. Vikings defense. God, good Lord. They are horrible. Horrible. And he's just more involved. I have more confidence in the Rams passing attack right now. You look at the Minnesota Vikings, 3rd in terms fantasy points per game allowed to wide receivers last 4 weeks. Dead last fantasy points per game to wide receivers on the year. So Van Jefferson for me. The football team's defense has gotten better. No doubt. Jim P. Merry Christmas, Andrew. Merry Christmas as well. I need some help for the semis. Need 3 for PPR. DJ Moore, Javante, Hollywood, CEH, Penny, or Waddle. Definitely playing Waddle. Definitely playing Javante. And then I'd probably go with CEH. Yeah, CEH is a good rate matchup against the Steelers. Waddle's a target machine. Saints are a slot funnel defense. Javante, again, another great matchup. DJ Moore's dealing with this weird hamstring injury, so he has a lot of risk involved, and he also has a terrible quarterback. And then Hollywood Brown he's really up and down. Like he's boom or bust. So I feel confident about those other players. So let's do the starts that I have in my starts of the week. Again, hate to bury the lead, but Justin Fields, my guy, is someone I just love starting. So top 12 quarterback, In his last 4 completed games, he's averaging 56 rushing yards per game over his last 6 completed contests. Seahawks rank 3rd worst in passing yards allowed over the past 4 weeks. Start Justin Fields. Easy money. Next up, Cordero Patterson. Now, look, I get that he had a bad game last week, but he really didn't have a chance. He only rushed for 18 yards, but 21 of them came after contact because the 49ers defensive line was just, he gave him no space to run. Like, he had literally no help whatsoever from his offensive line. He's rushed for 58 rushing yards in at least 3 straight games prior to last week's matchup. He had 2 carries inside the 5-yard line. He had a touchdown. He had a touchdown last week, but they overturned it. So, Lions, 6th most rushing yards to running backs in the past 4 weeks. Start Cordero Patterson across all formats. Next up, Ronald freaking Jones. Playoff Rojo, baby. Slated to take over early down work and a high-scoring offense. Gives him a ton of touchdown equity. I think it's a great matchup against the Panthers, who are a run-funnel defense. So teams run the ball at the 3rd highest rate against Carolina. We talked about, the Bills. The Bills are this team that just throws all the time. And what we see Devin Singletary just randomly have this 22-carry game. So that's not out of the range of outcomes that the Buccaneers take, a glance at what the Bills did last week. Like, hey, we don't need to just throw the ball a million times, especially because we're dealing with injuries to our top receivers. Let's feed Rojo here. So I think it makes a ton of sense. Last time Ronald Jones played the Panthers, rushed for 192 yards on 23 carries. Carolina ranks 25th in explosive run rate allowed this season. Riding Rojo to the promised land. Next up, Brandon Ayuk coming up, playing on Thursday night here against the Tennessee Titans. Again, disappointing last week, 2 targets for just 36 yards, despite running a route on 100% of Jimmy Garoppolo's dropbacks. So what happens in this what happens in this 49ers offense oftentimes is someone just gets left out. 1 week it's Kittle, 1 week it's Debo, 1 week it's Jeff Wilson. I don't think it's going to be Ayuk in back-to-back weeks. They've allowed the 2nd most fantasy points to wide receivers this season. Juwan Jennings, of all people, saw a 24% target share last week. We're running fewer routes than Brandon Ayuk. I do not think that that's going to repeat. I think Ayuk is in a good spot to produce numbers and set you up with a lead heading into Thursday. And again, guys, if you are contemplating a player on Thursday night versus later in the week, remember what's happening, this week. Guys are just getting ruled out left and right. Like, if you wait for Monday night for Sunday to play a guy, he may not be available to you. So if you're, deciding between Ayuk, I know I was titter-tottering between Ayuk and DJ Moore, earlier in one of my leagues. I'm like, I'm going to lean towards Ayuk. He's playing tonight, so I know he's going to play. Where Moore also has this injury he's dealing with. What if he gets COVID? There's a lot of scenarios if you just playing the guys in the earlier window, I think is a good strategy and a good approach to follow. I think especially for just, the next couple weeks. Darnell Mooney, again, last guy here that I want to mention. He's the alpha in the offense. Allen Robinson is still on the COVID reserve list. He ran around on 98% of Justin Fields dropbacks on last Monday night. He had 2 end zone targets, but the duo failed to connect. So I like him. I mentioned, to a start sit question about him. Seahawks have allowed the 2nd most receiving yards to wide receivers over the past 2 weeks. So again, those are my 5 guys: Fields, Cordero Patterson, Ronald Jones, Brandon Ayuk, and Darnell Mooney. So hopefully, if you made it out of your first round, you're going to be playing those guys. And if you did make it out of your first round, if so, you've got a title nearly in reach. So while you're busy preparing your postseason lineups, we've got you covered. I just dropped my 10 players and matchups you need to avoid heading into week 16 of your fantasy season. So when you're finished with this stream, head over to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/FantasyPros. Watch that short video. And while you're at it, drop a like. Gotta drop the likes, folks. I dropped the likes for you. You dropped the likes for me. We all are good. Now, back to the nitty gritty, the start and sit questions that fuel the live stream. David Gordon, Gibson, or Jeff Wilson? Already have Eckler/Jackson. I like Antonio Gibson a lot more than Jeff Wilson, personally. I think it's worth waiting, but again, it's a risk of variance. Gibson is banged up. He's playing later in the week, plays Sunday night. So, Jeff Wilson could have a decent game, but Gibson may not be available to you. So if you really want to go safe, I would go with Wilson, but I think that I would probably wait on having Antonio Gibson. K-Sim, full point PPR, Amari Cooper, DJ Moore, or Chase Edmonds. I go DJ Moore here, unless we find out that James Conner's not playing. So that in that case, I would play Chase Edmonds. Pokazoid, pick 2, half point PPR, Jeff Wilson, Ronald Jones, or Justin Jackson if Eckler is out. I'm going to play Ronald Jones here. I think that Ronald Jones is in a very good spot. So I think that he is someone that I would definitely lean towards. Tom Falconer, half point PPR, pick 3, Javonte Williams, Sanders, St. Brown, Waddle, AJ Brown. So I'm hoping you mean Miles Sanders, not Emmanuel Sanders. Pick 3, man, this is tough. So half point PPR. I mean, I think that, AJ Brown obviously has risk, no doubt. He has a lot of upside, but the guys you have in your lineup that I think are like locked and loaded guys. So, I mean, I want to play Williams, I want to play Sanders, and I want to play Waddle. So I would probably just play those 3 guys, honestly. John Frey, agree or disagree? The team that scores the most points regular season should get some money. Yeah, I mean, I think that makes a lot of sense. It's just an award that people get. Look, I have no problem with. You just have to set it before the season starts. Like, make it very clear what the rules are, so that way no one's upset. And if this is something that you want in your league, make sure you establish that before your league starts up. And if not, then find a different league. I don't know. But yeah, I think that's a fun any way to make things more competitive, to reward people doing good, even things like, who did the most trades? Like, you should be rewarding people that are having fun and taking advantage of the game the best that they can. Jewel West, which running backs you think are best to start? Michelle, Swift, Penny, Wilson, Duke Johnson, Gaskin, Jackson. So Swift, Wilson, Duke Johnson, Gaskin. All right. So Jackson for me. I like Justin Jackson this week. I like Sony Michelle. So those are probably my 2 guys. Jay White, Pittman, or St. Brown, standard scoring. I like Michael Pittman a lot this week, especially in standard. I think he has more touchdown equity than St. Brown, especially if there's a backup quarterback in. Oh yeah, and also too, like if we don't hear anything else about St. Brown with Jared Goff, that'd probably be a reason I would probably go away from him and potentially play one of those other guys over him from Tom Falconer. So just kind of keep your update on that. All right. Pittman. Okay. James T. Kirk, if Eckler can't play, should I start Justin Jackson or Deontay Foreman? I would go Justin Jackson. Never had it so good. Merry Christmas, Andrew. Please pick 3 full point PPR. Mixon, Javonte Williams, Barkley, Sony Michelle, Justin Jackson, or Swift if he plays. Don't think Swift's playing, so I'm just counting him out here. I'm playing Mixon. I'm playing Javonte, and I'm playing Jackson. Yeah, those are my 3 guys. Jimmy H, AJ Brown, Renfro, Amon-Ra, or Ronald Jones. PPR, pick 3. PPR scoring. I'd probably go AJ, Renfro, and Ronald Jones. Jewish Matt. If Evans doesn't play, Claypool, Craig Reynolds in the flex. Gross. I guess I'll go with Craig Reynolds. I mean, Jamal Williams should get the rollback, but I don't want to play Claypool this week. Do not feel confident about him. So I'll go with Craig. He's been the bell cow, averaging just like under 100 rushing yards per game. He's playing Atlanta. Happy holidays, Drew, from Tiff Rivera. I have a Cook. Yes, I have Cook in the league too. If he's out, he's probably going to be out. Who should I pick to pick? Who should I play to pick 2? PPR, AJ, Sony, Aaron Jones, or Swift? Swift's probably not going to play either. So I would go with probably AJ and Aaron Jones. All right. Let's get into the sits of the week here before we get into more starter sit questions. Cam Newton. Now, this was even before, Matt Rule was like, oh yeah, we're going to play Sam Darnold. Either way, you're playing with fire. Since taking over as the starting quarterback, if he even is the starting quarterback, Newton ranks 35th in completion rate, 54%, and 35th in PFF passing grade, 48.3, 28th expected fantasy points per game. This is just a bad spot for him. Like, we've seen Tampa Bay overwhelm, poor passers. It's actually the second worst matchup for quarterbacks per PFF's strength of schedule tool. The Buccaneers held Taysom Hill just to 33 rushing yards in week 15. If he doesn't find the end zone, you're sunk. So that's why I'm concerned about him. Next up, Deontay Foreman. Look, Deontay Foreman has been really good over the last couple weeks, but I got concerns about, the 3-headed monster that they have, with Dontre Hilliard, Jerry McNichols. Hilliard, 13 touches last week. Nichols had 9 touches. They also have all played a lot. And if they fall behind, I just am very concerned about how much time we're going to see of Deontay Foreman on the field. He's not as involved in the passing game. 49ers are a much tougher defense against running backs. Since week 9, they've not allowed a running back to rush for more than 60 yards. Foreman's also dealing with an ankle injury, so I think that there's just a lot of ways where he fails in this spot. Myles Gaskin, look, the Jets are the layup matchup of layup matchups. Now you have, okay, what's Myles Gaskin's role? Is he even the lead back anymore? Duke Johnson's season is here. Just question marks about how many touches he's going to get. And now you have a matchup against the Saints, who have the second fewest fantasy points per game to running backs. I just think that this whole backfield is a mess, and I want to stay as far away from it as humanly possible. Chase Claypool, somebody had mentioned him in the start-sit question. I mean, guys, like, he has been a wide receiver 3 boomer bust all year long. He's not been a top 24 wide receiver since week 5. He's running fewer routes than Ray McLeod. Like, this is just a disaster for Chase Claypool. So the matchup sucks against the Kansas City Chiefs, who've allowed the 6th fewest fantasy points per game to wide receivers over the past 4 weeks. They've also surrendered just a 51.0 passer rating on targets to receivers lined up out wide, which ranks second worst over the last 4 weeks. Claypool has run just 14% of his routes from the slot over that same 4-week stretch. So it's not a good spot for Chase Claypool. Want to avoid him at all costs. Tyler Higbee, I believe Higbee was on my sit list last week. He obviously didn't play because he was put on the COVID list. We'll see if he even suits up. But even if he suits up, it's not a spot where I want to play him. Vikings have allowed the 4th fewest receptions per game to the position tight end this season. It's also, if you check out PFF's strength of schedule tool, the matchup grades up as the most difficult matchup for tight ends among all 32 teams. So Tyler Higbee, you should look elsewhere for a tight end streamer if you are desperate at the position. And again, if you made it out of your first round, if so, you've got the title nearly in reach. So while you're busy preparing your postseason lineups, we've got you covered. I just dropped my 10 players and matchups you need to avoid heading into week 16 of your fantasy season. So when you're finished with this stream, head over to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/fantasypros, watch the short video, and while you're at it, drop a like. Let's get back to the start sits because, man, this is another wild weekend of fantasy football. Man, you got to be on the pulse. Luckily, waivers are a little bit easier to navigate because a lot of teams are out. But, yeah, good luck to everybody this week. Remember, have fun at the holidays, of course. But, hey, fantasy post-Christmas, it's gonna be interesting for sure. Browns fan 1977. Is Jacobs playing? To my knowledge, yes. I see the injury reports just as much as you guys do, so I don't have any insider information. I think that he should play though. AJ Martinez. Merry Christmas, Andrew. Hope you and your family are happy and healthy. I appreciate that, AJ. Pick 2 of these running backs to start in full point PPR. Jeff Wilson, Foreman, Michelle, or Ronald Jones. Yeah, so if you actually check out the full article at pff.com, I actually highlight Michelle and Ronald Jones as starts this week. So I like those 2 guys over Jeff Wilson and Deontay Foreman for the reasons I listed off in the article. Also talked about Jones here on the live stream. Ryan Keller, Jeff Wilson, Sony, DK, Amari, start 2. Man. I mean, DK has just been like a disaster. So I'm playing Jeff Wilson and Sony, honestly. Like, they're just so much more feel confident about their roles. Mari has been super inconsistent. DK is super inconsistent. So I'm going to go with those guys. William R. Garoppolo or Tannehill. I'm going to go with Garoppolo. Just more weapons. Ryan Tannehill just doesn't have weapons to throw to. It's just a big problem for him. John Owen, AJ Brown, or T. Higgins. I'm going to go with T. Higgins here. I think that the upside is pretty similar across the board, and you just have less risk of, okay, AJ Brown, is he going to be on a pitch count? Like, similar upside, and Higgins has a much higher floor. So I go with Higgins. Bronx Bomber, AJ Brown, or St. Brown for PPR. I'm going AJ Brown. Like chasing the upside there with AJB. Like, if Jared Goff doesn't play, I think that does matter a little bit. He's had a connection with St. Brown, and if Jared Goff doesn't play, then I think that does matter. Endgame, AJ Brown, Jalen Waddle, or Aaron Jones, pick 2. I will go with Waddle and AJ Brown. Yeah, man, that's wild, but that's what I'll go with. David Gordon, Antonio Gibson, or Jeff Wilson, full point PPR. Gonna go Gibson here. Again, I hope that Gibson plays, but he's just in a full bell cow role, whereas Jeff Wilson, yes, also in a bell cow role, but I think Gibson just. Yeah, I'm going to go with Antonio Gibson. Better matchup. I mean, both matchups are tough, honestly, but I'm going to lean towards probably the more talented guy, too. So, Antonio Gibson for me. Zane, full point PPR, pick 2. Sony Michelle, Darrell Henderson, Foreman, or Gabriel Davis. I'm gonna go with Michelle and Gabriel Davis. Like Gabriel Davis, I feel he's locked and loaded. I feel great about starting him across any league. Michelle obviously was the lead ball carrier over Daryl Henderson on Tuesday night, and I mean, could that change? Yeah, but I mean, Michelle has been really good, and Henderson has missed time because of injuries. So I'll go with Michelle and Gabriel Davis. Tony Taylor, PPR, Gabe Davis, or Jacoby. Going Gabe Davis. Yeah. I think Jacoby has a good target floor, but Gabe Davis, man, he just sucks up these high value targets. Targets in the red zone, touchdowns. He caught a touchdown against the Patriots last week. So, yeah, I think he's in a good spot. Javante or Rojo, full point PPR from Mikey S. Going Javante Williams. Look, the Raiders defense is just so bad. Like against the running backs, they're just terrible. And Javante, super explosive. Yeah, Rojo may get more touches potentially. We'll see how that backfield shakes out, but Javante, I think, is set up still just very, very well. He's also the preferred guy in the passing game, which Rojo just doesn't really necessarily have in his arsenal. Michael Thompson, full point PPR. I'm going to buy in for running backs. I have Jamal Williams, Duke Johnson, Michael Carter, and Hubbard. Pick 2. I probably play Jamal Williams, Michael Carter, honestly. Duke Johnson, yes, it was great. It was great last week, but we don't know if he's ever going to see that type of workload again. He's also not playing the Jets, so his numbers are so inflated. I just don't understand why people are chasing after Duke Johnson, in my opinion. I get he had a great game, but got mad concerns. So Jamal, I mean, if he takes back over the starting role, okay, he's playing the Falcons. I mean, I probably guess I have more confidence that Jamal Williams is their starting running back versus Duke Johnson being their starting running back. And then Michael Carter has a good matchup against the Jags. Mike K, full point PPR, sit 2. James Robinson, Madison, Connor, Rojo, Henderson. Connor and Henderson for me to sit. Caleb B, Van Jefferson or Gabriel Davis, full point PPR. I'm going to go with Gabriel Davis. Just less competition for targets. I know Van Jefferson could go off, but it also could be OBJ. Cooper Kupp's obviously going to get his. So Gabriel Davis, I think, is in a good spot here. Maybe Van Jefferson has a bit of a higher ceiling just because matchup is better. But Gabe Davis, man, I feel good about him. Tyler Rowe, Huntley, or Dak. I mean, I don't know if Lamar's going to play. Probably still going to play Dak, though. I know Huntley's been really good this year, but I think I'll still lean towards Dak Prescott. Kylie K. Pick 2, full point PPR. Rojo, Jeff Wilson, Foreman, Zeke, Gibson. Starting Rojo. Starting Gibson. Yeah, probably those two. Spencer, who for running back 2? Madison, Jackson, Sanders, Sony / Henderson. I'm definitely starting Madison, and I'm starting Sanders. Yep, those are my 2 guys I'm going to play. Blake Buffington, half point PPR, pick 2, AJ Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Miles Sanders, Saquon Barkley, Sanders, and AJ Brown. Mr. T, full point PPR, CEH or Javante, starting Madison, considering flexing AB or Higgins. I mean, guys, you got to start Antonio Brown. Oh man, you got to start him. He's just, I mean, I have him as a top 10 wide receiver this week. I just think he's gonna get so many targets from Tom Brady. Yeah, I think Antonio Brown's a must start. So, but if CH or Javante, I guess I'd probably lean towards CH. Again, the Steelers defense has just been so bad against running backs. So that's what I'll go with. Christian Reno, Dante Foreman, Melvin Gordon, or Jeff Wilson PPR. Go Jeff Wilson here. Starting running back. Tough matchup, but he's on a good running team. Gas Pigeon, Lamb, or Mooney. Oh, CeeDee Lamb, top 5 wide receiver this week. Guys, he still leads the team in target share. Mooney does as well, but Lamb, the football team is a slot funnel defense. Lamb has been operating in the slot most of the season, so I think he makes a ton of sense. Jeff Wilson or Michael Pittman, full point PPR. Go with Pittman here. I like his upside. I think that we could see a higher pace game, a little bit more passing from the Colts offense, which we have not seen really that much at all this year. So I think he makes a lot of sense. Bob Coogan, Burrow, or Murray? I'm going to go with Colin Murray there. Just the rushing. The rushing guys is still there for him. I know he had a bad game against the Lions, but I wouldn't get away from him. Ryan San Pedro, pick 2 in PPR. Zeke, Pollard, Gibson, CEH, Sony, Jeff Wilson, Jr., Justin Jackson. All right. I'm going to go with Gibson and CEH. Yeah, just because you guys pick, just because you have, these backup running backs you pick up, you don't have to necessarily have to start them. A lot of times just having them on your roster just makes it so that someone else can't use them against you. So, also, too, when you have a lot of players that you like the options, I think it's a helpful exercise to there's a chance that they all do good. You're not trying to necessarily sometimes you have a really good team and you're just kind of picking the best out of the best. It's not like the best of the worst is the best of the best. So almost, if it's a better exercise to look at and be like, all right, who do I think is like, or who's the wrong play? Like, who's the guy who has the lowest floor? And kind of look at it that way instead of just like trying to figure out the right guys. Just don't pick the wrong guy. I think that's really more something that I try to do when I really have a lot of great options. So, ask yourself, okay, like who of this is like wrong? Like who could I see like failing very, very easily? And that's a good exercise to take if you have a lot of guys you're looking at, just to kind of help eliminate players from your starting potential. True Blazer, standard pick, Odell, Renfro, or AJ Brown. Standard league, man, I just like AJ Brown a lot. I just think he has a ton of upside in this matchup. 49ers defense is so bad. It's just terrible. So I'm going to go with AJB. Pro Mania, PPR pick 2, please. McCole Hardman, Rashad Bateman, Chase Claypool. I'm not starting Chase Claypool. It's not happening. So Hardman and Bateman. Let's go. Dom, PPR pick 2, Higgins, Gage, St. Brown. I'll go with Higgins and Gage. St. Brown, just the quarterback change, just has me. I think him and Gage are very similar. So I pick those guys. AJ Brown or Gronk. Playing Gronk still. Swag hack. Is Judy a drop? Yes. I dropped him in a league that I had him, and I felt great about it. Craig Shames, appreciate you and what you do. I appreciate you, Craig. PPR pick 2, A. Brown, Aaron Jones, Renfro, Barkley, Jackson, Davis, Amari. Man, so many games. I'm going with Brown and full point PPR. Probably go Renfro there as well. Dave LeBlanc, Chase, Lockett, Pollard. Need one wide receiver and one flex. Chase and Lockett. Easy for Dave. Bryce Tremblay, Bryce Tremblay, TB12 or Hurts? I like Hurts. TB12 has a much tougher matchup. He was talked about on my players to avoid. Now, not saying you're going to bench Tom Brady in most cases, but in your particular case where you have another quarterback that is elite in fantasy, at least, I think that Hurts is the play there. Ben Albright, is it crazy to start Ronald Jones over Mixon? I think so. I mean, they're both volume plays, and I mean, Mixon gets the ball so many times. Like, yeah, he's not been great over the last couple of weeks, but I'm still rolling out Joe Mixon. So, Ross McWhorter, full point PPR, Foreman, or wait on Tony Pollard. Thanks. I probably just play Foreman in that case. I don't like Foreman a lot this week, but I mean, Pollard, I'm just like he's explosive, but like he still doesn't have a full time role. Foreman probably has like a full time role, so I guess I probably play just Foreman. Samantha Webenberg, pick 2.5 point PPR, Aaron Jones, AJ Dillon, Miles Sanders, Ramondre Stevenson, Michael Carter. Sanders and Aaron Jones for me. That's who I had 2 in half point PPR. Nick Lowinger, who is better wide receiver 2, just lost Godwin. Ayuk, Devonta Smith, or Van Jefferson, half point PPR. I like Ayuk. Again, mentioned him in the start sit. Great matchup against the Titans tonight. Timmy Tucker, almost got me. I thought it said Timmy Turner. Half point PPR, pick 1 for wide receiver 3, Devontae Parker, Gabriel Davis, Adam Thielen, Odell Beckham. Give me OBJ. Love OBJ this week. Vikings, one of the worst defenses against wide receivers this season. 5 targets last week. Good route participation. Let's go OBJ. Code negative, pick 2, full point PPR, AJ Brown, Jeff Wilson, Rojo, or Sony. I'm going to go with AJ Brown and Rojo. I think. Yes. That's what I'm going to go with. AJ Buck, full point PPR, Amari Cooper, or Gabe Davis. I'm going to go with Gabe Davis. Yeah, Amari Cooper, no, it's not happening. Sorry. Colby Colston, full point PPR, Lockett, or Ayuk. I'm going to go with Lockett here. He's been good. Like, when he's played, he has been good. So I think Lockett would be the guy I would play. No name Nate, do you think Kelsey has a chance to actually play, or should I put Gesicki in my starting lineup? I mean, you're going to know. So it doesn't matter at this point. So you can put Gesicki in your starting lineup, but he plays on Monday. So you just do that. And you can put him in there for now, and then you put Kelsey in when Kelsey plays or he doesn't play. Justin Jackson or Connor PPR. I mean, I probably still play Connor, but again, if he puts another DNP up on Friday, especially because they're playing on Saturday, I mean, he may not even play. So, yeah, but just pay attention to the injury news. If it looks grim, I'd play Jackson. Hunter Lockwood, Madison, or Aaron Jones this week. I'm going to go with Alexander Madison. He's going to get the workload, and Aaron Jones is in a timeshare with AJ Dillon. Sorry, not sorry. Nada V. Nelson, full point PPR, choose 2. Javonte Williams, Rojo, Justin Jackson, or Mooney. choose two. Javante and Rojo for me. Also, tight end Komet or Fryermuth. Komet. Definitely Komet. I don't think Fryermuth's going to play after he got a concussion last week. What's up, Andrew Bencher Quinton? What's up, man? Mixon, Jeff Wilson, or Singletary full point PPR. Still playing Joe Mixon. Still a great running back. I'm not going to go for some of these fringier guys. Michael Livin, standard pick 2, AJ Brown, DK, and Marquise Brown. I'm going AJ Brown and Marquise Brown. Trey W, half point PPR, Penny versus Henderson. I'm going to go with Rashad Penny. I just like Henderson is like really tough to trust right now because we don't know what his role is. Like he's a change of pace back. So Penny at least is the starting running back for the Seahawks. Mike Jones, Devontae Parker, Gabriel Davis, full point PPR. Still go with Parker. Parker's been really consistent. I know it's like not the greatest matchup. He's probably going to get Lattimore, but he's been consistent. Has at least 4 catches in every single game he's played this year. Decoy Gaming. Pick 3, half point PPR, James Robinson, Josh Jacobs, CEH, Michael Carter, or Justin Jackson. Robinson for sure. Jacobs for sure. CH. Yeah, boom, boom, boom. Zach Osbeck, Kamara, Gibson, Sanders, Rojo. Kamara, Sib, Gibson, Sanders. I don't think you change it. Chris Mintz, full point PPR, running back 2, pick 1, Michelle, Pollard, or Freeman. Full point PPR. I'll go with Sony Michelle there. Guru, DST week 16. Should I start Colts, Chargers, or Seahawks? I would go with the Chargers. They're playing the Texans. Easy. Nick B, Dawson Knox, or Waller? I would play Waller if he's healthy. Benjamin Lowry, half point PPR, pick 2, AJ Brown, Waddle, Amon-Ra St. Brown, McLaurin, AJB, and Waddle for me. Justin Duve, Madison over Patterson or Montgomery? No. I don't think I'd play him over any of those guys. Perry, full point PPR flex, Madison or Ayuk. I would go with Ayuk. Nah, probably just play Alexander Madison. He's starting running back for the Vikings. Like, it's hard to get away from him. Michael Mulligan, half point PPR, start 1 at tight end, Gronk or O'Shaughnessy. Gronk, easy. Lamal, Chan, kicker, McPherson or Dustin Hopkins. Man, I love the kicker questions. McPherson has been really good. I played Hopkins last weekend. The Chargers head coach is like, yeah, we're never kicking. So McPherson. Colton, Hickmott, DK or Gabe Davis PPR. So I'll probably go DK here. I don't feel great about it, but he's still, similar upside profiles. Giovanni, he is also a better matchup. Giovanni, PPR, Waddle, Javante, or Edmonds for the flex. PPR, go Waddle. Kyle, Atisha, Andrew, I really need your help. Please. I will do my best. Which 2 running backs would you play in PPR out of Mixon, Monty, Ronald Jones, and Miles Sanders? Which 2? I'm going to play Mixon and Monty. Ronald, yeah. I like Ronald Jones and Miles Sanders, I do, but I like those other guys more. The 1 KP, Penny or Jackson, half point PPR. Actually, I'd go Jackson here. Better offense, better matchup. The Texans suck. They're the reason that Penny broke out. So give me Justin Jackson. Ali Krongs, help the Cook managers, pick 2. Joe Mixon, CEH, Javante, Jeff Williams. Jeff Williams, who's that? I'm going to go with Joe Mixon and CEH. Or excuse me, Joe Mixon and... Okay, if the Chiefs are missing guys, I'd go CEH. Yeah, I'm going to go CEH. Johnny, Moses, Saquon, CEH, or Van Jefferson. Full point PPR, I'll go with Saquon and CEH. Dirt, Diggler, Eckler, Justin Jackson, James Robinson, Barkley, Sony Michelle, Penny, pick 3. Robinson, easy. Jackson, easy. Barkley. Ryan L, PPR, Landry, or Gabe Davis. I'm going to go with Gabe Davis. Pat, McNulty, Mike Williams, or Terry McLaurin. Go with Mike Williams. Texans defense, not good. They've given up one of the highest rates on targets thrown 20 plus air yards. So big plays coming for big Mike Williams. Angie Lynch, pick 2, full point PPR. Jones, Patterson, Madison, Jackson. I like Patterson a lot this week, so I'm gonna go with Patterson, probably Madison and Patterson. That rhymes. James Hillman, start 2 PPR. Foreman, Penny, Parker. I'm also already starting Waddle. Awesome. I would go with Penny and Parker there. William Reel, PPR pick 3, AJ Brown, Ayuk, DJ Moore, Van Jefferson. Go with AJ, Ayuk, and DJ Moore. Jacob Ronning, PPR. Who do I start at the running back 2 spot? Reynolds, AJ Dillon, Penny, or Foreman? I would go with AJ Dillon in that spot. Mike P, pick 2, full point PPR. Pittman, Waddle, St. Brown. Pittman and Waddle for me. Luis Gonzalez, Eckler out, full point PPR flex. Gordon, Wilson Jr., Sony, Penny, or Jamal Williams. I'm going to go with Sony and Jeff. Sony and Penny. Sony and Penny. Actually, let me check my rankings. I think Penny and Jeff Wilson are close. I think I might prefer. I definitely like Sony. Man, guys, these are all in the same tier. No, yeah, I got Jeff Wilson one spot ahead. So, yeah, Jeff Wilson. Travis Larson, Aaron Jones, Miles Sanders, Justin Jackson, half point PPR pick 2. Jones and Miles Sanders for me. Ted MG, Colts or 49ers defense. 49ers defense. Adams family, pick 3. Rojo, Justin Jackson, CEH, and Javonte Williams. Rojo, Justin Jackson, CEH, and Javonte Williams. Rojo, CH, and Javonte Williams. N Low, Justin Jackson, or Mixon, half point PPR. Mixon. Merry Christmas, Professor Erickson from JP34. Merry Christmas to you as well. Merry Christmas to you as well. I like the Justin Jackson I think is a good play, but he's not Austin Eckler. He's not. Dustin H, PPR flex, pick 1. Ronald Jones, Waddle, Stevenson, Pittman, or Penny. Pick 1. PPR Waddle. Mac Clark, half point PPR. Pick 2. Waddle, McLaurin, Lockett, or DJ Moore. I'm going to go with Waddle and Lockett there. Caven Williams. Should I start Waddle over Metcalf? Yes. I would start Ronald Jones over Metcalf. Easy money. Easy money, people. Scott Kobe. Matthew Stafford or Justin Herbert? God. Embarrassment of riches, Scott. Go Justin Herbert here. He's really hard to get. I mean, Stafford had a good matchup last week, didn't even really come through. And Herbert is playing. I mean, if there's no Eckler, I mean, they may just throw a ton. So I think that makes sense. Eric C, Deontay Foreman or Renfro, half point PPR. I'm going to go with Renfro. Brian Lawton, Brady or Murray? I'm going Kyler Murray. The rushing, man. And it's a tough matchup. Tough matchup for Tom Brady this week. Merry Christmas from Stretch. I just did a stretch. Stafford or Hurts? I like Stafford. Yeah. I'll go with Stafford. I got him at QB 3 on the week. Maybe it's a little aggressive. Yeah, I got Hurts at 6. So I like both of them, but I will lean towards Matthew Stafford. Grab some water. Just like firing off these questions left and right. It's playoff time, so it's got to be done. It's got to be done, man. I just hope that we have all the games play. That's what I'm hoping for. Cook manager here. Frowny face from Roberto. Half point PPR, 8-teamer, flex 1. Oh, God, the 8-teamers. Madison, AB, AJ Brown, Swift, Waddle. Flex 1? God. This is Antonio Brown for me. Michael Ashley, pick 3. Full point PPR, Gibson, Mooney, Kirk, or Justin Jackson. Gibson, Mooney, Justin Jackson. Ronell, Javonte Williams, or Miles Sanders. We're going to go with Javonte Williams. Good matchup for him. The Raiders are just garbage. Hot garbage. So go with Javonte Williams there. I wonder if there's even any news breaking. What are we doing with Thielen? I mean, you're probably going to play him if he plays. But yeah, that's where we're at. I mean, I haven't been huge on Adam Thielen this year, but he just catches touchdowns like nonstop. Hopefully he just doesn't play. I mean, if you have a better option, or if you're like on the fringe, I wouldn't play him. Freaky Louie. Great name. Rams or Packers defense? Rams are playing the Vikings. Packers are playing the Browns. Playing the Packers defense. The Browns, I have literally zero faith in their offense. Juan Mendoza. Justin Jackson, Ayuk, Gabriel Davis as a flex. I like Ayuk. Jumpman, Foster. Should I start Hurts or Allen? I have Allen one spot ahead, but Yeah, I'll probably go Josh Allen. Josh Allen is literally the number one quarterback in fantasy, so I'm gonna probably start him. He finds a way. Rain, Flex 2, AJ Brown, Terry, Marquise Brown. AJ Brown and Marquise Brown. Jeff H. Merry Christmas. Half point PPR, pick 2, Michael Carter, Ronald Jones, Alexander Madison, David Montgomery. Michael Carter, Ronald Jones, half pick 2. Ronald Jones and no, Madison and David Montgomery. Last one, Ryan B. Chase or Ayuk. Jamar Chase. Got to go with Jamar Chase. That's it for the start sick questions. Again, before we get out, just a reminder to everybody, we're doing a live giveaway this Sunday, December 26th, during the 12 p.m. Eastern kickoff live stream right here on the Fantasy Pros YouTube channel, courtesy of our friends, PristineAuction.com. One lucky subscriber will receive an autographed Jerry Jeudy Denver Broncos jersey. You get the jersey, you don't have to start in this week, though. How do you enter? It's simple. Subscribe to the Fantasy Pros YouTube channel before the 12 p.m. Eastern Sunday live stream. Ask a fantasy-related question like you've done all day in the YouTube chat during the show. That's it. We'll announce a winner at the end of the stream. So make sure you stick around to claim your prize. Everybody, it's been a great time answering the start sit questions on the live stream. I'll be back next week for week 17, Fantasy Football Championship week. I hope to see you all back here answering your championship questions. I mean, unless you're playing each other, in which case, obviously, we can't get everybody back here. But, okay, come back anyway. Ask some questions. We can do dynasty questions, DFS questions, what have you. Be happy to help with whatever you have. Or just come and hang out. It's a fun hour during the lunch day. Come hang out, before the new year. Before the new year kicks in. So again, thank you all for the fun this season, and happy holidays to you and your closest, your families. Have a safe holiday, of course. And yeah, I'll be back next week. Again, my name is Andrew Erickson. I'm over on Twitter at Andrew Erickson _. All my work can be found over at pff.com. And we'll be back next week. Tune in till then.